this episode of CobbTV, we are talking about the drumming style of Pink Floyd's
Nick Mason.
Yes, and be sure to like and subscribe for more epic musical content. Now, like many of the other drummers of his time, Nick Mason was also influenced by jazz musicians, but it was actually a contemporary drummer, Mitch Mitchell, who inspired him the most. But Nick Mason had a far different approach than those other guys because Pink Floyd's music was different and going in a different direction. Nick Mason chose to play simple even though he can do impressive things, and it takes a lot of discipline to actually pull back and give the music space. And that's a word I cannot stress enough and that I hope to say multiple times through this video. Space. If I was to use one word to describe Nick Mason's drumming style, I would use
hypnotic.
Nick Mason is a very hypnotic drummer. Whether he's playing a straightforward groove or a really interesting pattern repetitively, his drum beat hypnotizes you and puts you in a trance along with the other sounds that are going on in the music. Playing a simple pattern there on the mallet, but he uses his toms in a musical way. So for this next one, I'm just going to play it and then I'm going to talk about it later, and that's a segment from the song Us and Them off of Dark Side of the Moon. So in that segment I just played for you, there's a couple things that are really unique to the way Nick Mason liked to play. The first is on the ride cymbal, he's keeping steady eighth notes, but sometimes he chooses to accent the 16th note that he plays on the kick drum. And again, it's something that he chooses to do. He sometimes does not follow the ride cymbal with the kick drum. Sometimes he plays the 16th note while keeping steady eights on the ride. But it's just kind of one of those things he feels in the moment. And that's something to keep in mind if you're trying to emulate Nick Mason's style, is to do these things in the moment. Don't get fixated on any specific parts, because that's just not how any of these drummers played that I've talked about on the channel, whether it's John Densmore, Bill Ward, or even Ringo Starr. All these drummers would do their drum fills and their grooves and their different little flares in the moment. So the other thing in Us and Them that he does in a lot of songs is actually keep time 2 and 4 on the hi-hat with the foot, even though he's playing a backbeat on the snare. And it gives his backbeat a unique sound and a distinct style in Pink Floyd's music that it's just hard to imagine the backbeat sounding any other way. And another thing I can't stress enough is Nick Mason's solid time. Nowadays, you can use a metronome and quantize MIDI drums or program a drum machine. Pink Floyd didn't have a drum machine, they had Nick Mason. As well as keeping solid time, he was able to transition into different time fields, different tempo changes really seamlessly, and could set up the band. Pink Floyd, being a progressive rock band, also experimented with odd time signatures, and Money is probably their most famous song in an odd time signature, being 7/4. But I've already played Money twice on this channel. I'm actually going to play
Hey You.
Now, we can't end the video without talking about Nick Mason's drum fills. One thing I really love about his drum fills that gives him such a distinct sound is how he leaves space either before a drum fill, in the middle, or after. And one of the best examples of his different drum fills is Great Gig in the Sky. have it, just a little demonstration on Nick Mason's style. Nick Mason is the only member of Pink Floyd to appear on every single album, which means that he is the main ingredient in their music. So be sure to give this video a like for Nick Mason, and be sure to subscribe for more exposés on drummers that don't get enough love. But in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.